Welcome to Imam Ali's Legacy for exploring the timeless wisdom of Imam Ali through the profound teachings of Najul Balagha. Our channel aims to shed light on the invaluable lessons and guidance imparted by Imam Ali, covering a wide range of topics including spirituality, leadership, justice, morality, and philosophy. Through detailed explanations, reflections, and insightful interpretations, we bring Imam Ali's words to life, helping you connect with his divine wisdom in today's world. Whether you're seeking spiritual growth, intellectual enlightenment, or simply a deeper understanding of the teachings of one of history's most influential leaders, this channel is for you. Join us as we embark on a journey of knowledge and inspiration straight from the sacred texts of Najul Balagha. Subscribe to stay updated with weekly content, including sermons, letters, and sayings of Imam Ali, along with their meanings and practical applications in our lives. The third momentous armed encounter of the Muslims with the tribesmen of Quraysh is called the Battle of the Clans Aghzab, or Battle of Themot or Ditch Khandak. It is so called because many clans of Arabs were persuaded by Abu Sufyan to help him to annihilate Islam and the Muslims. Because these forces invaded Medina, the Holy Prophet was obliged to dig a moat or ditch around his army. This battle also proves that the Holy Prophet was forced to take up arms in defense of his followers and his mission. It took place on the 23rd of Dhul Qa'dah in the year 5 AH. The defeat at Uhud was a crushing blow to the tribesmen of Quraysh and to their leader, Abu Sufyan. While retreating from Uhud, he promised that he would come back again to avenge the defeat. He instigated the clans of Banu al-Nasir, Banu Ghatfan, Banu Slim, and Banu Kinana, and also succeeded in persuading Banu Qurayza, who, till then, had not sided with any party, to join their forces against Islam. Abu Sufyan was very sure of his success. He especially relied upon the famed Umar ibn Abd, who was as famous in Arabia as Rustam was in Iran. He had gathered an army of about 9,000 to 10,000 soldiers under command of this famous warrior. They marched upon Medina. The Holy Prophet could barely muster 2,000 Muslims to face this army. For nearly a month the armies stood facing each other, and one day Umar jumped the moat and faced the Muslim army, challenging them for an encounter. He was accompanied by Ikrimah ibn Abu Jahl, Abdullah ibn al-Mughira, Zura ibn al-Khattab, Nawfal ibn Abdullah, and others. His bravery, valor, and courage were so well known in Arabia that none of the Muslims except Ali dared face him. The assemblage of famous warrior tribes and the presence of Amr ibn Abd as their commander had made the Muslims so nervous that even the Holy Quran says that their eyes were petrified, their hearts were beating violently, and they were thinking of running away. Thrice did Amr ibn Abd challenge them, and every time none but Ali to face him. Twice did the Holy Prophet stood up and asked permission of the Holy Prophet, refuse him permission. But in the end he allowed him, saying, "Today, faith in embodiment is facing embodied infidelity." Then he raised his hands in prayers, beseeching Allah thus, "O Lord, I am sending a battlefield. Do not allow me to be left alone. You are the best companion and the best guardian." Muslims were so certain of Ali being killed by Amr that some of them came forward to have a last look at his face. The encounter ended in Ali's success and Umar's death. After Amr, he faced Abdullah ibn Mughira and Nawfal ibn Abdullah, killing them both. Thus, a victory was won without any Muslims except Ali coming out of the ranks. In the encounter with Amr and the defeat and death of this great warrior, Ali again exhibited such a chivalrous attitude that the sister of Amr composed a poem in praise of the man who faced her brother, fought him bravely, and demonstrated such a noble and chivalrous tribute to his subdued enemy. In it she said that if anyone else other than Ali had killed her brother, she would have wept over the infamy for the rest of her life. The death of Amr had completely demoralized the various clans gathered. They started leaving the army in retreat, going back to their localities. The tribesmen of Qurayshites went back to Mecca sad and dejected. Thus, Ali brought an end to the hostilities of Quraysh in 3 encounters at Badr, Uhud, and Khandak. Their best warriors were killed, their unity against Islam was crushed, their pride was humiliated, and their prestige before the Arab clans was lowered by him and by him alone. He further raised the status of Muslims among the haughty, merciless, and warring tribes of Arabia. In all of these 3 battles, not more than 60 Muslims were killed. He alone had killed more than 70 enemies of Islam, every one of whom was the head of some clan or sub-clan, a warrior famous for his bravery, or a deadly enemy of the Holy Prophet and Islam. For a detailed account of this battle, following books may be consulted. In their struggle for existence, the Muslims had to face a very serious opposition from the Jews. In the beginning, they tried to help the tribesmen of Quraysh against Islam surreptitiously, then openly. But when Ali broke through the enmity of the tribesmen of Quraysh, and when the Holy Prophet was forced to banish the Jews from Medina, they decided to try their fate against Islam with the help of Banu Azad, Banu Kainana, and Banu Ghatfan. Khaybar was the province which they had occupied since the times of their banishment from Palestine 108. It contained a few fortresses. The biggest of them was called Kamos, which was on a steep hill. In these fortresses, they started gathering in large numbers. After raising an army of 10 to 12,000 warriors, their misguided venture was to include a march on Medina. Hearing this serious news, the Holy Prophet decided to face them at Khaybar only. He marched at the head of an army of 3,000 soldiers. This battle took place in Muharram of the year 7H. Ali Med then was suffering from an eye problem and was left at Nay. The Muslim army succeeded in defeating the Jews in minor skirmishes, but when they tried to capture the main fort of Kamos, they suffered a setback. They could not succeed, though they tried for days at a stretch. The defeats sustained, sadly demoralizing the Muslim army. Holy Prophet had allowed every important person to command the Muslim forces day by day. Yet each day the result was fresh defeat, fresh 108. There are two theories as to what brought those Jews to Medina. One says they went there from Jerusalem fleeing the persecution of the Romans. Another says they fled the persecution of fanatical rulers of Yemen who were appointed by the then Ethiopian Empire, at the time fanatically Christian. To add demoralization, fresh boldness of Jews, and daily increasing danger of some more clans, emboldened by the weakness and defeats of Muslims, joining hands with the Jews. There were still many such tribes who were deadly against Islam and wanted to harm it. But Muslims' victories at Badr, hardened conduct had made them nervous. The news of the defeats at Khaybar were making them bold. The Jews of Khaybar, united by an ancient alliance with the Bedouin horde of Banu Ghatfan, were incessantly working for the formation of a powerful coalition against the Muslims. The Holy Prophet knew fully well the power possessed by the desert races to injure the Muslims, the spirit of Islam. There was further danger of the munafiqun, hypocrites and double dealers staging a rebellion in Medina. Prompt measures were needed to avert these evils. Only a victory could have saved the situation, which was getting more and more critical day by day. The Prophet was himself ill and sadly felt the need of Ali at his side. He knew that although he himself was ill, had not left him alone and had followed him. Therefore, ill or not ill, Ali too had to come to the succor of Muslims, Islam and the Holy Prophet. When the news of the last disastrous repulses of the Muslims were brought to him, the Holy Prophet said, "Tomorrow I shall give the command, the flag, an insignia of the command of this army, to a man who is brave, who will keep on attacking, who will not run away from the battlefield, who loves Allah and His Prophet, and is beloved by Allah and His Prophet." Next day, Ali, "He will not come back to me without success." The ark was called from his bed and was handed over the command. He took the fort by storm, killed Marhab, Anta, Mara, Al-Harith and 4 other tribal chieftains of the Jews in hand-to-hand combat. He broke the door of the fort single-handedly, carried his army inside the fort, and within 4 hours he flew the flag of the Holy Prophet in the biggest fortress of Arabia. He once again moved the cause of Allah ever closer towards an ultimate Islamic victory at the hands of Muslims, and on that day saved Islam from disastrous ends. The news of success pleased the Holy Prophet so much that he, though ill, came out to victor, embraced him, said, "Had I not been afraid that Muslims who start regarding you as Christians regard the Christ, I would have said things about you which would have made the Muslims venerate you, and to consider the dust of your feet as something worth venerating. But it will suffice to say that you are from me, and I am from you. You will inherit me, and I will inherit you. You are unto me what Aaron was unto Moses. You will fight for my cause. You will be nearest to me on the day of judgment, and you will be next to me on the fountain of Kauthar. Enmity against you is enmity against me. A war against you is a war against me. Your friendship is my friendship. To be at peace with you is to be at peace with me. Your flesh is my flesh. Your blood is my blood. Who will obey you will obey me. Truth is on your tongue, in your heart and in your mind. You have as much faith in Allah as I have. You are a door to me. As per orders of Allah, I give you these tidings that your friends will be rewarded in the heaven and your enemies will be punished in the hell. For further details of the above hadith and the Battle of Khyber, following books may be consulted. The victory which Ali brought to Islam in Khyber proved of great consequence to its mission and its followers. It gave such an importance and prestige over the infidels of the tribesmen of Quraysh that the Y, who till then had complete control and sway over Mecca, and did not even allow the Holy Prophet and his followers to come for Hajj and Umrah and had forced them for the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, were now obliged to surrender the city to him. Mecca fell before the superior forces of Islam. The causes of the invasion and fall of Mecca are not to be discussed here. Suffice it to say that Abu Sufyan, who had brought it all upon the heads of Quraysh, later leaving the country and countrymen to the devil, started running after every important person to secure his own and his family's freedom of life and property from the Holy Prophet through the mediation of Abbas, uncle of Holy Prophet Zak. 8. He received the pardon that he sought. The behavior of the Holy Prophet against these murderers of Muslims and the enemies of Islam was so merciful, benign and humane that he pardoned every one of them, a clemency and kindness which was and shall ever remain unparalleled in the history of mankind. When Mecca was taken over by the Muslims, the precincts of Kaaba were cleared of all idols by the person of the Holy Prophet and Ali, Jak, and it ceased to exist as the center of infidelity and polytheism in Arabia. The fall of Mecca, which took place in the Ramadan of January 630 AD, was accompanied with serious repercussions. The success of Islam since the Hijrah had brought many followers to its fold. These were of three types. Some had seen the truth in its preaching and had accepted it sincerely and faithfully. Some were such that they wanted to bask in the glory of a religion which was fast becoming a mighty temporal power, and they wished to make their worldly positions good through its influence and had accepted it with those ulterior motives. While there were some whose conversion was under false impression that unless they had accepted Islam, their lives and properties were not safe. The fall of Mecca had a very sad effect upon those two latter groups. They were not expecting that Abu Sufyan and the tribesmen of Quraysh would succumb so easily to the pressure of Muslim invasion. The clearing of idols from the precincts of Kaaba and closing its doors to the infidels was a heavy blow. It became more poignant when they found out their age-long enemy, the man whose valor and whose sword brought all these victories to Islam as well as disastrous defeats to their side. Ali, the flag-bearer and commander of the Holy Prophets, was forces on the occasion of the fall of Mecca. Along with the Holy Prophet, he was the man who cleared the Kaaba of its idols. There still were many polytheist clans in Arabia. To them, Mecca was the center of worship. Among them, there were two powerful Bedouin tribes, Banu Hawazin and Banu Thaqif. They now were joined by Banu Nusair, Banu Sadi, Banu Hashim and Banu Hilal. Those tribes decided to stage a comeback and were quietly promised help by the hypocrites. The whole thing was arranged so quickly and so stealthily that by the time the Muslims could come out of the sweet pleasure of success at Mecca, there was an army of 20,000 warriors at Taif ready to face them. The Holy Prophet marched to Taif at the head of an army of 15 armed Muslims. Some of them were freed slaves of the Muslims' conquest of Mecca, and many more were the hypocrites of the types mentioned above. There were a few thousand of those Muslims who had accompanied him from Medina. The hostile tribes decided to attack the Muslim army at a point of vantage at Hunain and selected two prominent locations where they concealed their archers. The Muslims were very proud of their strength and were very sure of their success, but their behavior during the encounter was shamelessly timorous and cowardly. The Almighty, discussing their attitude in this battle, says, Allah came to your help on so many occasions. Yet on the day of Hunain, your vanity in the number of your soldiers and your arrogance did not prove of any avail to you. You were badly defeated and could not find any place of shelter. You started running away without shame. Section 9. Tawbah. This encounter took place in the month of Shawwal 8, January, February 630 AD. When the Muslim army marched towards the place where the archers were concealed, the enemy opened the campaign with such a severe onslaught of their archery that the Muslim army could not stand it. The assault was fierce, and the confusion in the Muslim ranks made the archers bolder, and they came nearer and attacked from both flanks and from the front. The Muslims could not stand the attack any longer. They started running without putting up any resistance and had lost their senses and touch with reality so much that they even left the Holy Prophet Dak unprotected beyond their cares. Bukhari Sahih. The 1st Battalion, commanded by Khalid ibn al-Walid Raza al-Asafa, Volume 37, Tariq al-Anbiya, Vol. 2, p. 388. He was accompanied by Banu Salim and the recently converted Quraysh of Mecca. This was followed by such a disorderly and tumultuous flight of Muslims that only 10 persons out of an army of 15,000 were left with the Holy Prophet, Hashim Abbas and his 2 sons Ali. 8 of them were Banu Aqil and 3 other cousins of the Holy Prophet. Abbas was shouting at the Muslims to return, reminding them of oaths of allegiance taken and promises made, but it was of no avail. Those who had accepted Islam for wealth and power or under false fears were not willing to risk their lives. They ran as fast as they could. Many of them who had carefully hidden their enmity of the rising power were happy at the defeat. They gathered around Abu Sufyan, started congratulating him and saying that the magical spell of the lying prophet is broken. They were praying for the comeback of polytheism. Once again it fell to the lot of Ali to save the Holy Prophet and Islam. Armies of Banu Hawazin and Banu Thaqif, under the cover of their archers, were rushing down the hillock and were getting ready for a fierce onslaught. Ali divided the small band of faithful Muslims in 3 divisions. To Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib and his nephew Abu Sufyan ibn al-Harith, he assigned the duty of guarding the Holy Prophet. To 3 others he gave orders to guard the rear while he faced the onslaught with only 3 warriors along with him. He fought and fought, was wounded, but faced the commander of the hostile army, Abu Jardal, in a hand-to-hand combat and killed him with 1 stroke of sword. He attacked the enemy's rank once again, bringing the number of those whom he had slain on that day to 40. His aides had a glorious example before them. They also fought bravely, killing 30 more men. The day was saved, the commander of the enemy's army was killed, their ranks were broken, they had no courage to face Ali and started retreating. The sight of a powerful enemy under retreat made the fleeing Muslims bold, and they came back afterwards as victory was won for them. X, during the lifetime of the Holy Prophet, was sent on many occasions for the propagation of Islam and on many missions of mercy and peace. He carried out these duties to the satisfaction of the Holy Prophet and Allah. For instance, in the words of 80 Spirit of Islam, men of Khalid ibn al-Walid, under the order of this newly converted warrior, killed Banu Qazima's Bedouins. The news of this wanton bloodshed deeply grieved the Prophet, and he prayed, "O Master, I am innocent of what Khalid has done." He immediately dispatched Imam Ali to make every possible preparation for the outrage committed. Such a mission was congenial to Ali's nature, and he executed it faithfully. After making a careful enquiry as to the number of persons killed, their status and the losses incurred by their families, and paid the diya strictly. When every loss was made good, he distributed the remainder of the money he had brought among the kinsmen of the victims of other members of the tribe. This gladdened every heart by his gentleness and benevolence, and while carrying with him the blessings of the whole people, he returned to the Prophet, who overwhelmed him with praises and thanks. Similarly, in 8AH, when other missions failed to bring the powerful Yemeni tribe of Banu Hamdan to the folds of Islam, Ali was sent the re. Ibn Khaldun says that on the first occasion he gathered the tribesmen, some of whom were very learned, and spoke before them of the truths which Islam preached. This sermon was so effective that some of those learned persons immediately embraced Islam. This was followed by long discussions with others. He made them realize the rationality of the doctrines of Islam. The discussions ended in the wholehearted conversion of Banu Hamdan, who followed their learned leaders. This news pleased the Holy Prophet to the extent that he bowed down before Allah in thanks and thrice said, "Peace be to Banu Hamdan and to Ali," again in 10AH. His sermons and preaching proved so effective that the whole province embraced Islam as one entity. Appointment of Ali as the Prophet's vicegerent. It is generally supposed that the Holy Prophet had not expressly designated anyone as his successor in the spiritual and temporal government. Yet this notion is framed on an incorrect apprehension of fact. For there is abundant testimony that many times the Prophet openly indicated Ali had as his successor. The first occasion was when he was ordered by Allah to openly and unreservedly invite his kith and kin to Islam. This occasion is called Adawat al-Ashira, inviting the relatives to Islam. In the words of Rev. Sale, the Holy Prophet has said, "Allah has commanded me to call you unto him, who therefore among you will be assisting to me herein and become my brother and my vicegerent." All of them hesitating and declining the matter, Ali at length rose up and declared that he would be his assistant and threatened those who should oppose him. Muhammad, upon this, embraced Ali with great demonstration of affection and desired all those present to listen to and to obey him as his deputy. Thus, at this occasion of the introduction of Islam as a religion, Imam Ali was declared by the Holy Prophet value of Ali's support to the Holy Prophet as his deputy. The and his designation as a vicegerent at this stage is fairly well assessed by theologians, historians and thinkers of the West and the East. The second occasion was at the time of Ali's conquest of Kaaba. The words of the Holy Prophet quite clearly, positively and expressively give his opinion about Imam Ali and his desire to leave Imam Ali as the guardian and the propagator of his mission. He said, "You are from me and I am from you. You will inherit me. You are unto me what Aaron was unto Moses. You will be nearest to me on the day of judgment and next to me on the fountain of Kauthar. Enmity against you is enmity against me. A war against you is a war against me. You have as much faith in Allah as I have. You are a door to me." Refer to p26, the Battle of Kaaba. What more can one say? Can there be anything more forceful, more eloquent, more pregnant with clear indications, and more categorical than the words which the Holy Prophet has used? Do they leave any shadow of doubt? Has the Holy Prophet ever used such words for anybody else? The third instance was the occasion of the invasion of Tawakkul. To understand the occasion and the cause of remarks of the Holy Prophet, it is necessary to know the historical background of the incident. It was the summer of 9 and the Holy Prophet had received the information that the Roman king was mobilizing his forces to invade the Islamic State, and many Arab tribes were gathering round him. He decided to face them in their own land and not to allow them the run of the Muslim state so that they may not lay waste to the lands through which they would pass. The situation had become very serious because there was famine in Hijaz, Taif and Yemen. The hypocrites, the Munafiqin, were carrying on an intensive propaganda campaign to try to make the people believe that the famine was the sign that Allah was angry with Muslims and wants to exterminate them with the worst form of death. And in the case of a defeat against the Roman armies, there was an imminent danger of a rebellion. It was imperative that the state should be left in the hands of a faithful and powerful guardian. Otherwise, there was every possibility of being sandwiched between the two enemies. The Holy Prophet, therefore, decided that Imam Ali should act as a regent in his place so the world might realize that in the opinion of the Holy Prophet, none could look after the temporal as well as spiritual welfare of the Muslims during his absence but Ali Ak. He called Ali and told him that he would have to act as the last line of defense for him and Islam, saying, "O Ali, nobody could look after the center of the Muslim state but you or I." Imam Ali's stay at Medina disappointed the Munafiqun hypocrites as they constituted the majority of those left behind by the Holy Prophet Ak. They claimed that the Prophet Imam Ali had lost faith in had therefore left him behind, and that it was positively certain that the Holy Prophet was going to suffer a defeat. Imam Ali naturally felt anxious for the Holy Prophet and annoyed at aspersions against him. He left Medina immediately, met the Prophet, the paths at the place of Jerf, and told him all that was said at his back. Thereupon the Holy Prophet said, "I lie. They shall lie against you as they have lied against me. They have called me an epileptic, a magician, a sorcerer, and a necromantic, and have always portrayed me as a liar. I have appointed you as my vicegerent and my caliph over all those whom I have left behind. Are you not satisfied to realize that you are to me like Aaron was to Moses?" The fourth time was in the wording of the spirit of Islam. Notably the occasion of the return journey from the performance of the farewell pilgrimage. During a halt at a place called Kham, the Prophet had assembled the people accompanying him. Using the words which could left little doubt about his intention regarding his successor, Ali, he said, "To me, Ali is what Aaron was to Moses. O Allah, be the friend of his friends and the foe of his foes. Help those who help him and frustrate those who betray him. I would be doing a great disservice to the cause of the truth and to the history of Islam if I do not sketch at least an outline of his incident." More than 50,000 people had gathered on that occasion, and many of them narrated all that took place there. Among those narrators we find such luminaries as Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, al-Zubair ibn al-Awam, Abdullah ibn Umar, Abdullah ibn Abbas, mother of the faithful, Aisha, mother of the faithful, Salama, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and Hassan ibn Thabit. The book Ajhul Matalib cites 100 names of the companions of the Holy Prophet who testified to the Gadekam incident. There are about 153 historians and collectors of the Holy Prophet's traditions and authors of Seer books, Mujams and Musnads from the 1st century AH right up to 1900 AH, who have all narrated the entire incident in detail and have drawn practically the same inference as the author of the Spirit of Islam. The book Ajul Matalib again gives a list of them in chronological order of 13 centuries, from which I have quoted a few names at the end of this section. Here is the incident in more details. In 10 AH 632 AD, immediately following Ayatul Warada, the farewell pilgrimage, the last pilgrimage performed by Prophet Muhammad, a divine order was revealed to the Prophet to convey the remaining Islamic tenets. The annual pilgrimage to Mecca and the imamate of the 12 infallible Imams. The Prophet called upon the faithful to accompany him on his last pilgrimage. He knew that it would be his last and that he would soon have to leave this temporary abode for the Eternal One. More than 120,000 Muslims responded to his call. The Prophet and his company put on the Ihram garbs at the appropriate time at Masjid al-Shajara, a short distance from Mecca, his birthplace, which he entered on Del Hijjah 510 AH March 6, 632 AD. The Prophet's call reached Yemen, where Ali ibn Abu Alib was acting as his representative. 12,000 Yemenite pilgrims came out headed by Ali Kha in response to the Prophet's call to accompany him on his historic pilgrimage, bringing the total number of those early pilgrims to more than 132,000. The Islamic pilgrimage starts in the month of Dhul Hijjah, month of the pilgrimage, the last Islamic lunar calendar month, and continues for at least 10 days. First, each pilgrim dons a special garb called ihram. Male's ihram consists of 2 white sheets or towels covering the upper and lower parts of the body, whereas females wear a full white cotton outfit, simple and modest. This ihram reminds the pilgrim of his/her death and of the equality of all before God. All pilgrims perform the same rituals. None receives any favorable treatment or distinction on account of his status, power, or wealth. The pilgrimage starts by the Awaf